I feel it's my duty to raise myself as much as I can so that when I die, it's not going to be such a huge leap for wherever I'm going. And I obviously think wherever I'm going will be to be with Poppy. But in what form, I don't know.
Welcome to S.I.N.S, Something I've Never Said. A podcast which celebrates your secrets and everything that lies beneath. Guys, it's the year of the freaking horse. So saddle up and enjoy the ride. There is no time like the present.
Is the elephant in the room?
It's January the 15th. It's still freezing. And I am on a walk to tell you about today's episode. Today's guest is the absolutely phenomenal Anna Chancellor, the legend, the actress, the icon. This episode for me was particularly important because I met Poppy, who is Anna's daughter, during my old podcast, Daddy Issues, because she lost her dad in 2016. And 2 years ago, Poppy devastatingly passed away of a very acute form of leukemia. For me, this podcast had to start with Anna because Poppy made such a huge mark on my life, and my God, was I blown away by Anna's voice, who she is, and the way that she is dealing and has dealt and continues to deal with her grief, but also other people's grief and grief as a general subject matter. This podcast will make you reevaluate, I think, so much about the way you react to your own pain. In this episode, we discuss grief, obviously. We discuss loss of a child. We discuss bereavement. We sort of glimmer on afterlife. We glimmer on mental health. We predominantly discuss death and everything that it sort of holds. A bit like Anna, this podcast doesn't hold back. It's open and it gets to the nitty, the gritty and the sticky of grief. And Anna just embraces that all. She celebrates it. She welcomes it with open arms, like she welcomes everyone with open arms. And when Anna left, I was buzzing because of the connection she lets you have with her, because the connection that she gives the room. Okay, everyone, enjoy.
Did it ring?
I heard something.
Does it ring?
Oh, did it ring?
I didn't hear it.
Oh, no, it doesn't.
Oh, it doesn't?
Very nice.
Hello, darling. Hello, sweetheart.
Oh, thank you so much for coming all
It's
the way.
my pleasure. No, it's all
Oh my
good.
God.
It's all good. I'm actually going to go down to the West Country after.
Can I get you something to drink?
A cup of tea.
Yes, cup of tea. Are you okay with oat milk? I've realised we only have...
oat milk's fine.
Oh, great. Would you like something also hydrating? I've got fizzy water, elderflower.
Yeah, fizzy water.
Yeah. Would you like some elderflower with it or?
Yeah. I'll put this on our table. Oh, yeah.
Anna and I decided not to film this episode. We both realised that we would be able to speak more freely if it was just the mics. So I hope you'll forgive us, and this stunner of a photo of Anna and I will suffice.
Which side is sort of speaking to you?
Oh, I'll go this side.
Okay, well, should we begin?
Yeah, let's go.
Well, thank you, Anna, for coming on to S.I.N.S.
My pleasure.
So we're here to talk about two things. The first thing is obviously Poppy,
Yeah.
and the second thing is grief, which is obviously something that she was such a dab hand at, ironically.
I know.
Which is actually bonkers. I think about that quite a lot.
I know.
She
She used to say to me, I'd say, all this grief stuff, Poppy, isn't it? It's a little bit gloomy, isn't it? And she'd say, grief is my calling.
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God.
Isn't that odd?
Yeah, that's wild.
Can I just get it? Your dad died when you were...
7.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
Poppy obviously in 2016. Is that correct?
I'm so bad at numbers, but
Yes,
her dad died when she was obviously much older. It took her a while, as you know, to process that.
Yeah.
And then when she did process it, it was then a full embrace of everything that she found out about grief. And that became a sort of an ever deepening, widening interest in everything about dying, death, and grief. Not that she actually that much talked about the afterlife. Although I would say to her, how's your dad? After he died, she'd be great. She's doing great. So we would talk about, it was accepted between us that there was very much an afterlife and that people were present. Although I would say we didn't particularly go deeply into it. Yeah.
What was her relationship to grief prior to her dad dying?
It's difficult to speak for her, but I'd say, I would say it wasn't particularly on her radar, but she was a very sensitive person, and her grandmother, who she loved, I think that would have impacted her. But I don't think she had thought, how shall I navigate this? Whereas Jock's death, I mean, it was complicated with Jock because he was, they'd been very close when Poppy was young, very young, and we'd lived together until she was about 4. And then there'd been a separation, of course, it was in divorce, and he'd gone to live somewhere else, and their relationship, that closeness, sort of began to sort of divulge a bit, and he was a heavy drinker.
Right.
So that is another grief, an addiction grief.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, I feel that our lives are laced with grief. Obviously, when you have a very tragic death, like you've had, like I've had, that's a life-changing, forever-altering experience. But for me, some of the feelings haven't been totally dissimilar. I'm like, I slightly recognise this feeling.
Right.
From, in my case, my parents divorced when I was very young. I was sent to boarding school. I had things that were very difficult to deal with, separation things that were very difficult to deal with as a child. And so maybe those things those feelings come up again, but sort of under the umbrella of a very intense grief. But they're not, but the different aspects of it aren't always totally unrecognisable to me. And therefore, I think in relation to other people, I recognise grief in other people, not necessarily death.
Yeah.
But my sort of compassion and my view is expanded about how grief plays a part in all our lives.
God, that's fascinating. And did you feel that at all prior to Poppy dying?
Prior to Poppy dying, I absolutely knew, concretely knew, that I had a deficiency or inexperience, that I'd had many experience, but I knew I hadn't experienced grief, not real grief. I mean, my parents had died, but I feel I'd already grieved them because, like I say, we'd had a difficult upbringing. They hadn't been around. They'd been quite they hadn't been able to be the parents that ideally you would have wanted.
Right.
I'm not. That's not saying that they weren't great people. They did the best they could. So I think I had grieved them during my lifetime. So I knew that I didn't know grief. I knew that.
Wow.
Yeah, I was aware I didn't.
Yeah. That's kind of bonkers in a way, because that you even recognised or were self-aware enough to have that understanding.
That I lacked.
Yeah.
Well, yes. That
Well,
I
almost that it was going to be filled in a way.
I never thought it'd be filled like that.
No, of course not.
No.
Yeah.
Well, of course, yeah. I knew it was something I didn't know.
Yeah.
And you're right. Rather self-aware of me, because now I know a bit about it. My sort of consciousness, my levels of empathy and humanity have, without doubt, expanded. I never know that word, exponentially.
Yeah, exponential. I've written exponential.
I don't think I've ever said that before, because I'm always worried about the bit in the middle, exponent. No. Yeah. So yes, I was right. I didn't know, and now I know, and now I am a more probably, coherent person in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you found this, but people who are grieving children, no one really discusses it because there seems
because it's too much.
Yeah. Is that something you've experienced? Is that
well? I mean, I also have thought very deeply about children who've lost parents. And I don't know how much people you'd know whether how much people talk about that. And because children, because their brains aren't developed in a way to be able to take on the not that adult brains are developed either to take on the loss of a child, but it makes me think a lot about kids in this situation. Yeah,
God, that's interesting.
Oh yeah. Because I think if this has been this difficult for me. What must it be like for a kid? But I suppose as a kid you are given, there is this sort of joyful, beautiful thing about children, is that they just have to go on, don't they? And they do it with such style and grace, and later it hits you, I imagine.
Yes, totally. Yes, absolutely.
But at the time, the sort of beauty and the openness and the sort of gorgeousness of a child's mind carries it through. And for a grown-up, in a way... Now I'm saying that to you, in a way I've had to find that in me to be able to navigate this experience because of how Poppy was and her relationship with grief and her relationship with me. I feel that there is only one way forward for me to go through this experience is with a sort of with an openness and almost like a childlike wonder and an ability to open my heart to play, to search, to engage, to talk, to cry, to... I have felt that I wasn't able to close in on myself too much, to lock down and to hug this grief to my chest and to make it a private thing. I have not done that.
Right. Consciously or...
Consciously.
Wow.
Maybe consciously, and maybe it's my character, and it was the relationship that I had with Poppy. Poppy and I were... we were very joined in our approach to life. Or I just forced her into being a sort of mini-me.
I have to say, the amount of times where we've spoken before this podcast about, organising things, I'm like, it's literally like talking to Poppy.
Is it?
Yeah, you're so similar.
Right.
Yeah, it's wild. Just the way you type, the way you express, the way you say things, your turn of phrase. She was the mini.
Well, she was. I think she was an upgrade as well. Oh, definitely. Read my husband. She's an upgrade. No, she was an upgrade. But we were like part of having a child is luck.
Yeah.
And whether you have an affinity with that child, whether your brain is similar, whether your joys are similar, whether your reactions, your appetites, your loves, your things that make you buzz. Well, we shared that. So we went around the world together. Whether we were in Gap and they were playing music, we'd be dancing on the escalators, we'd be dancing, we would just, and we were very engaged with people we didn't know. Just the everyday person in your life, the bus driver.
Yeah.
The old lady in the street who's done her hair nice.
Yeah,
we would both stop, you look great. We shared that.
I love that.
We shared that.
Yeah. So very generous of spirit.
Well, a sort of maybe a little bit, not exactly showbiz, but a little bit bringing the party into everyday life.
Yes.
So that was how we related to each other in so many ways. So that I sort of carry that out into the world, and well, in many ways, Poppy started the sort of grieving process when she'd been diagnosed, I think. And a friend of hers showed her this picture of this photograph of this goddess ceremony. She'd had a goddess ceremony on her. I know. On her, the woman had done it on her hen night.
Oh my God, incredible.
Okay, so Poppy showed me these pictures of this beautiful girl covered in flowers, all her friends around her, and I thought, oh really? I was like, and she showed me the picture. She said, look, that's a goddess ceremony. And I went, yeah, right, okay. And she went, that's what I want to do. And I went, is it? She went, yeah, that's what I want to do. And I went, okay, we'll do that. That's what you want. We'll do it.
Yeah.
So for me, that moment when Poppy knew that she was dangerously ill. To me, this is the most incredible leap of a person to make. Yeah. Yeah. You see, you just have to let these,
Yeah.
you have to let these kind of waves come. But that's okay.
Yeah.
It's quite, I mean, grief is so interesting because the heat rises. I mean, it's actually a very beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
To sort of touch a memory or a feeling about someone, and for it to have this kind of physical impact is actually, we're sort of trained to think, don't cry. We are so trained. And even me as an actress and as a sort of vaguely sort of independent person who doesn't particularly adhere to authority. Authority's always irritated me.
I agree with you.
But even for me, I have the same sort of social feelings like, I'm going to stop this. Well, I mean, I'm slightly on a tangent now, but if it's that bad for me, what's it like for other women and what's it like for men?
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of the things I've realised, that I feel that are many of these incredibly violent things that happen in the world. For me, I think they are unexpressed grief in men.
Yeah.
But just to go, so when Poppy said she wanted to have these ceremonies, what I suppose what made me cry then was because it was so open of her. So we turned my house in Hove, little house, very, and I filled it with flowers. And we made this beautiful fisherman's bed, and we put like a sort of mattress on it, and she lay on that mattress, surrounded by her friends, all dressed up to the nines. And it actually began by her coming downstairs to Nina Simone, singing "I'm Feeling Good," and then she had a sort of bowl of water, which I said quickly, "Let's bless this water." So we blessed the water, because you see, I was brought up a Catholic, where there is all that ceremony. And I realised, why the fuck can't we? Do we really need these guys to tell us that they have blessed the water? Really, they've got a through line and we haven't?
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck you. I feel so strongly that religion took over what we were more than capable and needed to do for ourselves.
I agree.
You can't give it over to some bloke some institution where they have done appalling things and that they still run their shop. So we would make it up, Poppy and I.
Yeah.
We'd make it up. I say, okay, I bless that water you've got. She'd come downstairs to Nina Simone. Her friends, maybe there would be about 12 of us in quite a sort of tiny little room. And there was this huge sense of nervousness and anxiety amongst these girls. Of what's it going to be like? What am I supposed to say? It was palpable, the feeling. But Poppy lay down. We lit some sage, we anointed each other, we had some sort of rather expensive oil. And we got all this stuff. We just made up, we played music. So one by one, people would hold we had some Greek candles, I remember, beautiful beeswax candles. So people would light the candle, hold the candle, speak to Poppy, and then put the candle that they were holding in some sort of sand. And that went round and round and round. Oh, and then I think we'd play maybe Elvis or Aretha Franklin or whoever, and we'd put our hands on Poppy. Oh, and we'd get petals, that's right, which we then later learned were full of bacteria, and she was, we should never have been doing it because she had neutropenic sepsis. I mean, she had no bone marrow, she had no white blood cells. She absolutely was terrifyingly susceptible to any infection. But anyway, we didn't know that then, so we kind of carried. And this beautiful friend of hers went to sort of Covent Garden Market, picked up all these lovely peonies, and yeah, and then that would be over, and then I'd cook for everyone, and we'd eat, and I suppose what I'm trying to say is that in those celebrations, there was a sense of elation. And beauty, and peace, and expression, and Poppy led that, because sometimes they've said to me, let's do one for you, and I'm like, I actually don't know that I could lie passively and listen to people sort of telling me how much they love me and admire me. Of course I do love that. I'm totally susceptible to flattery. But in a way, Poppy there was something very sort of humble about her doing this. We didn't know she was going to die, but I mean, that is the thing of people who are very, very ill, and people listening to this will know, if they've been in the same situation, that on the one hand, you know that your person could die, but on the other hand, anything can happen. There can be, science can step in and actually target that person, and genetically that person can really respond to the medicine, the chemo, whatever it is. That is a possibility. In Poppy's case, I sort of knew we both knew she was hyper allergic to any medicine. Any medicine. She wouldn't take anything. She never took drugs. She never took, didn't drink. No. She was a hyper allergic person. And so I kind of knew, I think she did too, that these heavy doses of chemo leading up to a stem cell transplant, was it going to be possible? I think I probably knew it wasn't. But you need to hold these two realities of living and dying, and you can't give up. You must never give up. That's another thing. So this is the complexity of life. I mean, if it's true in death, it's true in life. So even in other situations, we must think, well, I don't have much of a chance here, but I'm going to go right to the end. I'm going to go right to the wire. You have to be indomitable. You just have to be. Even if you're just drowning in pain and fear and terror. Like Maya Angelou says, I too will rise.
I love that.
Yeah, of course. These black women, I mean, you have to say, when you're in crisis, I have to say that it is Toni Morrison, Maya Angelou, is the women of colour that have
who have this wisdom, inner strength. Speaking of, and being obviously, as you said, maybe not only mother's instinct, but also knowing Poppy incredibly well, and knowing her body incredibly well, and how it may or may not take to this chemo. What was it like to sort of be in this incredible euphoric positivity and celebration, whilst equally telling yourself to stay strong in order to be able to cope with what was happening and not show your fear to anyone in that moment?
That's an interesting question, because I think I was incapable of not showing my fear, and I was often crying. But I've often been a crybaby, and Poppy would say, "Wet and windy, are we again, Mum?" Wet and windy, And actually, her belief was cry. She'd say, "Cry. Why are you scrunching your face?" And I'd be like, "Well, you don't. If you cry, cry. Why stop?" So she was very much of the feeling that you cry, but she didn't. So it was probably, sometimes she would say it would be because it was happening to her. She just had to survive. She just had to survive all these horrendous things, these blood tests. I mean, it was very, very, very horrendous, because she had leukemia, but a very specific type, where she had no bone marrow, and she would have she'd go into these very, very high temperatures, like 40 degrees temperatures, and then the body would start shaking because the body thinks it's cold and tries to warm itself up. So she would the time you'd have to survive that would probably be an hour. So you'd have to get to hospital, they had to fill you up with antibiotics, and the only, poor England, poor God bless England, the only way you could get into the hospital was through the A&E.
Right.
So, I mean, you really couldn't believe that you were like, my kid has got an hour.
Yeah.
Get us in.
Yeah.
And the poor nurse, she'd be like, I'm leaving. Well, I can't leave. And she'd get, and we'd go through as quickly as we could. And then these young doctors who work on it would having to be pumping her for the antibiotics.
Oh,
and then you'd hear the woman, like, drunk woman being kind of arrested.
Yeah.
You'd hear it all going. You couldn't believe that this level of horror was happening to you. And then they'd do things like they'd put her in a room for the night, and in the morning I'd get there and they would have lost her notes.
Oh my God.
Lost her notes. I heard them outside going, how can we tell her? How can we tell her? And I'd like swing open the door. You can tell me now. Tell me now. She'd be in the bed and I would become like, I hear you. You've lost her notes.
Yeah.
Now what are we going to do about it? And they'd be like, well, we're going to have to start at the beginning. And I go, that's not acceptable. Anyway, I would have these huge, I'd say, you can't, I can't even remember what I'd say. I'd say, this is what a mother of a kid who could have died because you've lost her notes looks like. I want you to see what it looks like. And Poppy, I could feel her. And then afterwards they'd leave and Poppy would go, my God, it's like you're acting so badly, Mum. Why 2 arms? Who does the 2 arms at the same time? Only a bad actress, Mum.
That's really funny.
I mean, it was just so extreme. And I mean, she found me a lot. I was hard to deal with.
What, Poppy found you a lot?
Yes.
Did she tell you that?
Oh, yes. Yeah. And that's why she was just appalled by me because I was on edge and I'd be calling people out and telling, and then at the same time I'd be sort of treading on her oxygen tube.
Yeah, so funny.
Yes, I'd be sort of unplugging her.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why I loved so much her husband.
Yes,
because
oh my God.
he was so calm. And he'd clean her teeth for her, and I'd be like, I know. And she'd try and get me, like, I can't clean your teeth. All of my hand would be shaking, and I'd be like jabbing her. He could do that. And he'd stay calm, and Rita, my husband, would stay calm.
Yeah.
So, they were fantastic.
Yeah. But that's quite nice for her to have the sort of yin and yang around her.
I mean, it must have been hard for her to see me go off like that. But on the other hand, she also knew that I was probably going to make things happen. I mean, I wanted her to go to the Marsden Hospital, which we were only just in the area for.
Right.
And in order to get her in there, I kicked off at Brighton Hospital to get her transferred.
Yeah.
I said absolutely anything I could say. I was like, I will not, you are my job. I will get her transferred. I am not working. You are my job.
Yeah.
And to get her transferred is what I'll do. Every minute of every day, I will hunt you down. I was like Liam Neeson. I will find you. I will come and find you in your office.
Yeah.
You are not getting away from me.
Yeah.
She'd be like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Bad.
I can hear her with that.
So embarrassing, I know. But even though she did ultimately die, the Marsden was this incredible place, and they helped her die. And they were unbelievable. We had these Filipino nurses, 24-hour nurses, who were like God had sent them.
Yeah.
These beautiful people. I want to go and find the family of these nurses. I will.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my life, so this is what I'll find. I'll go to the Philippines and I'll find the family of these nurses to thank them.
When you said this is my life, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, it must be very typical for parents when their kids die, because we see it so much, when a kid is shot in Sandy Hook, I think it was, that the parents then start up campaigns. I heard this podcast of these parents of a kid who'd been shot. And then when these other school tragedies happen, they're the first there to speak to the other parents. They've got like badges saying we've been through this, and in other people they might run marathons, or they might do this. But because of how I am in the world, and because of the things that my future will be to do with bringing these ceremonies that me and Poppy started, that I have continued with Poppy's friends and family, just bringing a different sort of approach to grief, along with Poppy, wherever she is, to carry on that work.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, I started Daddy Issues because I needed that space. Poppy started Grief Case because she needed that space. A bit like what you're saying. Or, you know, parents start, you know, charities against nut allergies because their child's died.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
it's the pain is what drives us to make changes. And I think I see it everywhere. I believe it hugely. And I think it's the really beautiful part of pain.
When I was in Australia filming, I met this most beautiful Aboriginal grief counsellor who runs something called Griefology. And she's called Rosemary Wananganeen, and the most unbelievably beautiful person. And when my friend arrived, she was an old friend of mine from drama school, also from Sydney, who's a very deep Buddhist. We were going to this island called Kangaroo Island off the coast of South Australia, and I went to see my grief counsellor, and she said, this is the island where Aboriginal people send their dead spirits, and I will ask my ancestors for permission for you to go there and do a ceremony. So Gabby and I, my beautiful friend who I hadn't seen for 30 years, we took some charcoal, some incense, but Rosemary said, you need to bury something of Poppy's.
Yeah.
So we went to this island. We didn't know where we were going to do our ceremony, but in the end we found these beautiful rocks. We played the music, we lit the incense, and at the last minute I thought, I've got nothing of Poppy's to bury. And then at the last minute I found her lipstick in my handbag.
No way.
Yeah. I mean, things happen. Things happen all the time.
Yeah.
So even this thing of me going to Australia to film this Netflix thing, which was great and everybody was lovely, but the real core of it was to go and do the ceremony and to understand a tiny, tiny bit about the Aboriginal relationship to land, to ancestors, to grief.
Yeah.
Now, next month, it will be the burial of Poppy's ashes, not her complete ashes, because I've already buried her. I've already scattered her in Mexico.
Yes.
For Day of the Dead.
Yes. She would have loved that.
Loved that. And I found this fabulous tomb to put on this young kid, this boy who maybe had been killed in an accident. And there was a beautiful mural of him, and he had this tomb covered in flowers and a figurehead and candles, and round his tomb was lots of like plastic chairs and beer cans where his family obviously came. You know, this is what the Mexicans do.
Yeah.
They come and they sit, they like, shall we go up there on a Friday night? And we'll bring dinner and we'll have a picnic and we'll smoke, we'll play music, we'll hang out.
Yeah.
Isn't that gorgeous?
Yeah,
can you imagine what would happen in a graveyard here if you did that?
The police would come.
They'd arrest you.
Yeah.
They'd arrest you.
Yeah.
What have we done to ourselves?
Yeah, I know.
What have we done that we just strangle ourselves from experiences that are actually very, very important to us? So anyway, they didn't know this. I didn't ask permission, but I left Poppy's ashes with him because I thought she's going to have such a great night with him, and he looked a bit like Lionel Richie. Then I also left her in India, where I did, after she died, I went to an Ayurvedic centre for sort of health. It wasn't particularly for grief, and I didn't realise when I got there I was taking sleeping pills and smoking cigarettes and antidepressants. I was absolutely wired.
Yes.
When I got there, they didn't say, because they're just too nice, these people, to take them away from you, but you kind of know you better leave it all at the door, and you do get fined $5,000 if you smoke. And Poppy hated me smoking.
She didn't like smoking at all. Yeah.
She hated smoking.
She hated it.
Me and Jock, heavy smokers. So anyway, I left that all at the gate of this Ayurvedic centre and went into kind of terrible shock and sleep. Couldn't sleep for a week, and that's when I listened to the other podcast, Jonathan Goldstein, Heavyweight.
Wow.
He saved my life.
Really?
I think so, because I could listen to him all night long, all these stories, beautiful stories.
Yeah.
And then I had Poppy's ashes there, and I wanted to leave some there. Well, first of all, I wanted to get out of this place and maybe find somewhere to leave Poppy's ashes. They were like, you are not going anywhere. You are locked in here for a month, which I didn't realise. And I also didn't realise, as they gave us these lovely sort of fine pyjamas, and I went round with sort of matted hair, like crying. And it wasn't for a while that I realised they were totally see-through. And I suddenly noticed all these women. I thought, oh, she's wearing a bra and he's wearing his pants. And I'm looking down like that myself, like, oh my God, they can see everything. And it was quite expensive. They were all rather rich people.
Yeah.
And I was a mad person. Anyway, what happened there was that I saw one beautiful tree with a kind of maze, or like a labyrinth around the bottom of it, and another tree next to it, which was much sort of huge and sort of slightly towering over. And I thought, oh, I think I'll leave Poppy's ashes there and there, because mother and daughter, it was kind of like it. And I sort of dragged these people in to do a ceremony with me.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you see, one of the women had lost a baby, stillborn baby. So you see what grief gives you.
Connection.
Oh, yeah.
Big time. Yeah.
Incredible connection, yeah. And so these people did their little ceremony with me. We read poetry, we played music, blah, blah, blah. And then I found the man, he was slightly headmastery, the man who ran it. And I said, I had said to him, I'm going to leave the ashes here. He was very sweet about it. And then I said, well, I left them under those trees. I said, but I couldn't see who they were. There were plaques underneath them, but I couldn't read Indian. I couldn't read the writing. I didn't know who they were. He said, oh, they are a mother and daughter top classical Indian dancers. The leading beautiful Indian dancing.
Oh, wow.
The daughter had planted it for her mother when the daughter had died.
That's giving me tingles.
Mother and daughter trees.
My God.
I know. But that happens
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so crazy. It happens all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
I absolutely know, but I don't know what form, that Poppy is absolutely here. She was so conscientious, you see.
Yeah.
She didn't want to leave any of us behind. She wanted us to connect.
Yeah.
She wants this movement, whatever this movement is, to grow, for people to have fun and to be to express their grief in every form. Oh, and I left them in Australia as well, under a white ghost gum tree it's called. Yeah. I got Rita to send me Poppy's ashes, because I was like, actually, now I'm in Australia, I think I need some ashes. Can you send some? And Australians are really...
I got sent over
by post. And we kept on getting messages like, she's in Honolulu. She's in Louisville. She couldn't travel that much when she was alive.
I was going to say, this was a real adventure.
Yeah, because she was often not well enough to travel.
What, even before she was unwell?
Yes, because she was diagnosed with something called lupus when she was about 17 or 18, and she was totally allergic to the sun. That's why she was so white.
Yes.
And she often wasn't well. And I said to her when she was properly ill, I went, oh, God, darling, what's it like being so ill? She said, I've often felt ill, Mum.
Oh,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she hid it so well.
She was an extrovert, but then I think that's why we were so close too, because she'd come home to me often and then just like crash.
Yeah. Afterlife. I would love to ask about your now understanding of it, and actually perhaps how you felt about it before Poppy died and how you feel about it now.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think... When I'm naturally the sort of person who, I mean, I've never got on hugely well with logic anyway. I wasn't an academic person. So much of my life has been very instinctive.
Yeah.
Because without my instincts, I really was nothing. So I think I would have always have felt that there would have been, I would never, I don't think, occurred to me in my character that this was it. That was it. That you disappear and become nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing comes from nothing. Is that King Lear? I think it just wouldn't occur. Where does it go? The spirit. I think that would never have occurred to me. But I also would have never probably given it a great deal of thought either. There's something that so smashes your ego about something so tragic that in a way that's a good thing. Obviously, that is a good thing. It dismantles me as a person in how I relate to really everything. So I feel it's my duty to raise myself as much as I can so that when I die, it's not going to be such a huge leap for wherever I'm going. And I obviously think wherever I'm going will be to be with Poppy. But in what form, I don't know.
Do you speak to her?
What happened was, when she was very ill, she was lying in bed and I was sitting, I think I was sort of sitting up on a kind of ledge in a hospital room. And she looked at me and I looked at her, and it was this very deep exchange of looks. And I just knew, not that I necessarily knew she was going to die, but it was this very deep, deep, deep connection. And sometimes I just go back to that incredible sort of gift of connection that she gave me, to see right into her. The interesting thing is, like, now what's so interesting about grief is that now I'm crying because the grief is so great, but the connection also is so great.
Yeah.
So it was a bit like what you were saying before, like holding these two realities in your hand. One is that your darling daughter might die, and the other is she might not, and life might continue. You have to hold these two realities. And it's a bit the same now. I absolutely know that Poppy is there and our relationship is thriving. And that I am on course as far as she's concerned. She's quite happy with how I'm doing.
Yes, I bet.
Yeah, she's quite happy with, my sort of rather abandoned, eccentric, all-encompassing, sort of anarchic attitude to death. I've also become really rather terrifyingly fearless.
Yeah. Yeah.
They asked somebody at work, they said, what's Anna like on set? And he said, Anna's like a loaded gun.
Is that only the recent stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was always a loaded gun. I don't think so. Another thing I want to say about it is that the imagination is, and another thing I feel very strongly about children and about the world we live in and how our imaginations are just kind of, but you need your imagination to be able to. I had one grief counsellor who said, the imagination can be a bad thing because you can imagine terrible things that happened when your child was suffering, blah, blah, blah. Right. But really, we desperately need our imaginations to imagine these other ways that we can connect with our loved ones.
So what do you mean by that?
Well, I just think, I can completely see and feel that Poppy is. I can feel her. I can feel her laughing. I can feel her enjoyment. I can feel her laughing at me. But I can feel and be attached and be connected to these things because I have an imagination. If that had been like scored out of me, it'd be very hard to access it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And then that's when it comes out in unhealthy ways, I often think.
I mean, how do you feel grief is expressed unhealthily? What would you say that was?
I think addiction. It can go into, really not looking after yourself in that way. I don't think necessarily addiction in terms of someone who is, born an addict versus someone who becomes an addict. I think that I certainly have been through phases of not looking after myself whatsoever because of not being in a good place with myself because of unresolved grief and trauma, blah, blah, blah. It became me. It became, my guiding light because I was just constantly feeling pain, unable to confronting it in the wrong way. There was definitely a lack of sense of self or even just self-awareness, or I was not treating my body how I would ever want someone I love to treat their body, or this lack of self-care. And I think that definitely came from this huge thing I was carrying for a long time and unable to deal with. But I really do understand that lostness that can come from something like grief, because I always felt that I was half a person. I could never be whole. That's how I felt, because I knew my mother, but I didn't know my father. So how on earth? And it was a really visceral feeling. How could I ever be full or a whole person if I don't know who made up one half of me? It was a very real feeling, and sort of typically powerless, typically sort of victim-y. Like, that's where my brain was. That's where it existed, and that's why I don't have judgment if someone's in that headspace. I want them to get out of it, but I don't have judgment because I get it.
This is the huge task that is given to children who lose their parents.
Oh God, yeah.
I went through a really difficult stage of not wanting anyone else. I found it so painful that someone would know my dad better than I knew him.
Of course.
That I couldn't actually, it would make me feel sick every time someone would tell me about him, thinking that they were doing something wonderful.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
And then this sort of repellence against, almost like a deep denial of the shame of not knowing him.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Why would there be shame?
I think a lot of shame over the fact that they knew my dad better than I did.
And you, because this is children interpret things and turn them into shame.
Yeah.
When they don't know what to do with the feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, isn't that hell?
Yeah.
And isn't that, I mean, what are human beings like that you could say that you who lost your dad so young had shame?
Yeah.
I mean, that to me is so deeply sad and
yeah.
I mean, the shame was attached also just to, so many different things around it as well. And also the sort of fact that you're not okay, because as you said, it catches up with you, this sort of grief and the shame around not being okay about something that happened a very long time ago, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
What happens as and when, because people do find death awkward and people find grief awkward, and I can only imagine people find the death of a child even more awkward. How do you sort of navigate it when you realise someone is being a bit awkward?
I actually weirdly haven't encountered that.
Oh wow. Yeah. That's amazing.
I don't feel I have, or
you're just so far removed from the awkwardness maybe that you don't even pick
I
it
don't
up.
maybe even really notice it.
Yeah.
Oh, because I'm so overwhelmed by my own so I might stand there like on the makeup bus being like, all my makeup's come off my face, and I'm like that. And then they're so sweet, they're like, come on Anna, let's get you back.
Yeah.
So probably there is people going, oh my God, how's she going to cope? Is she ever going to recover? Is this an unworkable situation? But I did a play recently, and when I started crying almost immediately, one of the actresses, who I didn't know very well, but I had been with her and Poppy on a boat once, and she said to me, your tears are so welcome here, Anna.
Oh, that's
So
such a
welcome,
sweet
isn't it?
thing. Yeah, that's heaven. And what had made you cry? What had been the trigger?
Oh, anything can trigger me.
Right.
Really tiny things. I can't remember in that instant what it was.
I have a few last questions, which I will find here because I wrote them down on purpose, about Poppy. So, what would people not know about Poppy even if they thought they knew her?
Well, she was very fragile. People would think maybe that she was a very sort of almost like a tough person. I don't know. They think she was obviously very extrovert, very funny, and and a laugh. But she would need to sort of crawl back home, like I said, and she would be so exhausted. I basically think she was ill for a very long time.
Right.
And I think people would maybe have been surprised by her vulnerability and her sort of nervousness and her anxieties. She probably hid those quite well. She was a fragile person as well.
But that's probably why she was so good at connecting to people.
Maybe that wouldn't be a surprise to people.
No, it actually would be a surprise to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because she was this incredibly strong and powerful and vivacious and charismatic person. Yeah. I definitely wouldn't know the fragile side.
No, very. And also she absolutely loved nature. I mean, we'd have these beautiful journeys when she was very ill, and we'd drive around the Sussex countryside, which I don't actually know that well because I was brought up in Devon, Somerset, which I know well. So we would be going around these lanes, not really knowing where we were going, but we would slow down the traffic beep beep, as we'd be looking at an oak tree, we would maybe come to a river, we'd go down, and I wrecked my car. My husband's like, how did you wreck your car? Bang, 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 down a little path. And then we'd find like a river with sort of sandy bottom, and we'd get out and we'd play and we'd be there in the rain.
Yeah,
we loved nature. And then I'd say, let's go. I like to snoop around other people's houses, or like to drive up. It's called sweepers, I think. When you drive down a big drive, a gravel drive, up to a grand house to have a good look at it, and then you do a U-turn and leave.
Right.
That's my favourite thing, and that made her absolutely die with anxiety. But then I'd say, last time we did it, I went, what should we say if they ask us what we're doing? She said, oh, just tell them we're looking for a cure for leukaemia.
That's really funny.
Funny. Well, you know she was funny.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
This actually was my next question, was what did you laugh about the most?
I mean, Poppy was... I mean, sometimes she would be so funny, especially as a kid, that I would actually not laugh. I'd be like, that's like properly funny. That's like sort of like top comedian funny.
Yeah.
That's like Ricky Gervais funny.
Yeah.
Or even more, because she's a girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Girls have got an edge, right? But I remember once like being in a sale in Barney's in New York and like going through all the clothes and da-da-da. She was 10 and she said, Mum, if I wait any longer, I'm going to grow armpit hair. Like she was going to go through puberty. She was waiting for me for so long.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, sharp. So what would we laugh about? We'd laugh at people and her imitations of people, because she would imitate perfectly.
Yeah, she was so good.
Oh, yeah. She could do any accent and she could make up. I mean, once, there's this gay guy she worked with, Rufo. They worked in a cafe together. Rufo was absolutely filthy. And I was driving on the Westway and a Michael Jackson song came on the radio. She was singing it like Rufo, being absolutely disgusting. So she was singing Michael Jackson like Rufo, Spanish accent, being filthy as filth. I mean, filthy. And I was crying. I thought, I was going to hit the Central Reservation, crying, laughing. She made me cry with laughter. What was so funny about Poppy was that she was so like stunning, and her figure and the looks. She was like a star, right?
Yeah.
She was like a
She was
proper
like a Hollywood starlet.
Yes, but she was ours. No one knew her. She wasn't famous.
Yeah.
She was for us, for her friends.
Yeah.
She didn't even crave. She didn't want to be famous. She didn't care. I mean, she wanted to be successful in her work as an artist and to be taken seriously as an artist.
Yeah.
And she loved performing, but she didn't want to be famous. She didn't want an agent. She didn't want a producer. She didn't. Yeah. I mean, now I can hear her saying, hang on, Mum, I would have quite liked...
Yeah, exactly.
Hang on.
Sorry, mind your words.
Yeah, mind your words for a minute, because actually I would have quite liked... But she wasn't. She was our homegrown star.
Yeah.
Which is just so fabulous, isn't it?
Yeah, which is way better.
Don't you think?
Yes. So I feel like you've actually already answered this, but what part of her did you secretly most admire but didn't want to admit?
Well, she had a very clear mind. She had a very unique mind and saw people very clearly. Yeah. She could see through bullshit. Yeah. And sometimes if I'd be bullshitting with somebody, she'd be like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. Why do you say that? Just bigging yourself up. I mean, did it sound like that? She's like, yes, do that. But the thing I think for me was so sweet that if I was in a play or something, when my mum would always be mortifiedly embarrassed if I was, she'd come backstage. If she even came backstage, she'd often leave. Right. She'd be like, sort of like, well, she'd be sort of, as though it had been her. Anyway, it was very embarrassing for her, although I'm sure she was proud at times. But if Poppy came backstage, she'd be like, Mum, fabulous. Oh. And she'd go through everything. She's the only person I know who would go, she'd go, and when you did that look, she would notice everything. Yes. Yeah. You did that, and your hair, and that thing, that I love the way you did that. And no one will do that. Yeah. No one will go through anything like that again with me. Yeah. Yeah.
What did you fight about the most?
We didn't fight. Wow. That was probably...
That's phenomenal.
Well, no, I think it probably wasn't a good... I don't know if it was a good thing. We just didn't.
Right.
I fight with my husband. Right. I never fought with Poppy.
Yeah.
And so the thing...
Would she ever try and fight or not?
No, she'd get upset.
Right.
she was very sensitive. If I was to shout at her, she'd have been very upset.
Yeah.
So maybe we were a bit too careful with each other. Now I'm glad.
Yeah.
But that was our, we didn't really fight.
Yeah.
She'd be upset about things. She'd be upset, if I spent too much money. She was very careful with me. She thought I was, which I was, have been rather sort of laissez-faire and up and down, crash and burn, and So she'd be upset at my behaviour. She hated me smoking.
Basically, she wanted you to look after yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually now, she didn't like it when I brushed my hair and just took a brush and just dragged it through my hair. And so now when I brush my hair, I brush it very delicately.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Well, since Poppy's passed away, and now you'll do it the way that actually she wanted you always
gently.
to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try and be gentle with myself.
Yeah. Well, that gives me, that sort of leads on to the next question, which is, when do you find yourself missing her the most?
Well, that's difficult, because it's like this thing I was saying, that all the time I imagine her, know that she's here, but of course it's the physical. And I suppose it's this thing about legacy, because Poppy was very keen on your legacy. She'd want to know. She'd be, that picture of you, Mum, was great. Let's put that picture there. And, now I can't really see the point of my own legacy. So that's something that that's something that's kind of gone for me. I don't even know whether legacy is an interesting thing or not. But she was certainly interested in me like that. And now I'm not. Yeah.
Are you interested in her legacy?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's sort of switched.
I am.
I was going to say, I feel like that's what your new calling is.
Yeah. And I'm not just interested in her legacy because of Poppy being so fabulous, which she was, and I have no idea how I managed to even have a child like that. I mean, it was just an incredible bit of luck.
Gift.
Yeah, gift.
But she is you as well, so.
And maybe it's luck to have a child that had such an affinity with you. That's why people felt so worried for me, because they'd be like, how's Anna going to cope with this incredibly close bond?
Yeah.
And I suppose when you've asked how people felt awkward around me, I've seen people be very frightened for me, because it was an unusually close bond.
Yeah.
But the upside of that is that it still is. I mean, I maybe more than some people have got incredible access to her and to what she would want me to do.
Yeah.
And it's not so much Poppy's legacy is Poppy as who she was, which was fabulous, but she was, like, grief was her calling, as I said.
Yeah.
So that if I can do anything to be able to help other people and myself, of course, cope with this journey of grief, then that is my, I suppose that is in a way my legacy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's almost like your legacies have combined.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then I don't know what that means about my acting and everything.
Yeah. Well, no, what's great is, in a way, and I kind of envy this, it's like the power's gone into somewhere different.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean the other thing gets forgotten, it just means that it doesn't hold that much power.
No, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. And I think that's a gift. That's a huge gift.
Yeah.
It's almost like the handcuffs are slightly released and the sort of...
It's a bit zen, you can throw the arrow or the dart at the dartboard without even really concentrating.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're not so focused on the outcome.
No, exactly.
You see, with acting, I love acting, but I don't care about the outcome.
Yeah, because you've got a whole other different purpose, which actually is one which I feel like is, much more important anyway.
Yeah,
You know,
well, hopefully it's hopefully.
And I say this as someone who's also in the same industry as you. It's not that what we do isn't important. Storytelling is incredibly important, but there is a completely different area of. It's almost like your focus instinctively just went that way, and that's where it wants to stay.
Yeah,
and so for you, it will stay important.
Yeah.
I have 2 more questions. The very first is, if Poppy was here right now, which we obviously know she is.
We obviously know
she is. What do you think she'd want to say to you?
Right now? I think Poppy would be very in tune with Angharad. You know? Listen to her. Don't reload. Learn to listen, not to be so obsessed with your reply. That's what I hear her. Be delicate, Mum. Be gentle. Listen. You know?
But what do you think she'd want to tell you in general?
Feel. Feel. Don't apologise for your tears. And she wouldn't be like, keep me alive, I need to be kept alive. Yeah. But if I can continue to keep the aliveness of Poppy alive between me and people and everyone, then that is doing something for the sort of energetic sort of value of life. Not to keep somebody like flogging a dead horse to keep them alive, because I think what happens to a lot of us is that we love our person. Then they die, then we grieve, and then we think better zip it after a while. I better not go on about it. But actually, it is the opening of and them existing still, and the relationship continuing, developing, deepening. That allows other people to also be part of that journey and to bring their people in.
So she'd tell you to keep feeling, because you are feeling.
Keep it. Yeah, don't stop feeling.
Yeah. And then, if she was here right now, which she is, what would you want to tell her?
Well, you probably hated it when people said, you've got this. It's like, I've got this on my own, so I'd say to Poppy, we've got this. We've got this.
Yeah.
We all have.
Thank you so much, Anna.
Thank you.
It's been a total joy having you. I can't believe,
great pleasure.
Honestly.
Yeah.
And also I'm so glad that we've properly connected.
I know. Yeah, done for life now, friends for life
exactly.
now. Right? And who knows where you're working.
Guys, I am so grateful that you just listened to this episode of S.I.N.S. Thank you so much for coming. I really hope this episode brought something fresh and new to you, and that somehow you've learned something today, in whatever way that is. Please do share and care. Everyone bangs on about it, but it really does help. Obviously, rate, review, subscribe, all the norms. A huge thank you to my incredible engineer, Volkan Kilstug, who, without you, I don't know what I would have done. Guys, thank you so much. I really cannot wait to keep bringing really stunning conversations to your ears and just telling you everyone's secrets. See you next time. This is a S.I.N.S Studios podcast.
Is the elephant in the room?